Before I became a psychotherapist, I had a mental breakdown. I was hospitalized, being evaluated, and later told I was depressed. How could this be? I'm a young college student, newly married, managing a salon at the time, and celebrated by many people for my determination to succeed. They could see the ambition in my eyes, the relentless passion to pursue my dreams. But what they couldn't see was the silent struggle beneath the surface. I was struggling. I had tunnel vision, pushing myself beyond limits to pursue these goals while being fueled by the applause of others. Keep going. But I was struggling. Some nights I would cry myself to sleep because I was overwhelmed. I was experiencing achievement fatigue. See, achievement fatigue is the emotional, physical, and psychological exhaustion that stems from a relentless pursuit of success, especially when worth is tied to external validation. Everybody around me, they validated me. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were simply supporting my decision to go the extra mile. See, the thing about achievement fatigue, it is deeply connected to what is known as maladaptive perfectionism. This is a distorted belief system that fuels individuals to measure their value based on unattainable goals and harsh self criticism. Many high achievers are known for this toxic behavior and mindset. They'll set beyond ambitious goals that are not realistic. And when they're not achieved, they'll reinforce their mental health with harsh self criticism. Then they'll self evaluate with a strong inner critic about all the things they did wrong and all the ways they could do things differently. High achievers, they're known for outsourcing their worth and acceptance, ultimately diminishing their personal value system. According to the American Psychiatric Association, 40% of high achievers have seen an increase in anxiety and depression within just the last 5 years. The World Health Organization reports that 60% of individuals who are passionate about their purpose, they're experiencing burnout. This quiet crisis is often overlooked because success masks the symptoms. I didn't recognize my own deteriorating mental health until I had a mental breakdown. It was one of the most embarrassing and shameful experiences. When I was in the hospital being diagnosed with depression, managing a salon, and the doctor told me things would be different, the only thing I could think about was getting back to work. I was calculating how many hours did I miss, how many clients I needed to see, and how to make up for lost time. I tried to pick up where I left off, but things were just not the same. There was still so much shame still lingering that I couldn't ignore my mental health. It was time for me to disconnect from achievement fatigue and reclaim my worth beyond success. It was time for me to redefine success, to cultivate my self-esteem and confidence rooted in my personal values. It was time for me to prioritize my mental health and start going to therapy. This required a radical transformation. The first thing I had to do was be willing. I had to be willing to confront the limiting beliefs that kept me stuck. I had to be honest about why was I going after the goals that I was pursuing? Was it because I had my eyes on everybody else's success and silently comparing myself to them and constantly feeling like I was behind? Was it the fear of being broke and not being able to survive? I had to be honest about the limiting beliefs that I held as truth that only kept me in a cycle of the fear of failure. The second thing I had to do was to evaluate my circle of influence and to develop a wellness squad. I knew my family and friends, they loved me, and the mental health breakdown caused all of us to pause. But what became more important was having open conversations about mental health to break the stigma about the challenges we all faced silently. The Wellness Squad became my accountability group. I had to be honest with them, but most importantly, honest with myself. I had to learn how to set boundaries with intentions and also recognize every open door opportunity wasn't for me to walk through. The last thing and the third thing I had to do was to develop a recovery plan based on love. Now, that was hard. I didn't know how to affirm myself and to give myself grace when things didn't go according to plan. I was so used to my inner critic having the loudest voice that I turned off the volume on my self love. I believed the harsher the inner critic, the more I get pushed beyond my limits and the more success I would produce. But I was wrong. I had to develop a personal love language. And the more that I started to embrace resting without guilt, I was able to find it. It started with writing words of affirmation through journaling. Then it became quality time with myself. Over time, I started to develop my self love again and recognize my inner critic was simply a defense mechanism. Fear was the driving force behind my success. I was so consumed with outrunning my fears that I appeared to everyone else as this high achieving woman who wasn't afraid. See, success, it masks the symptoms of my maladaptive perfectionism, my achievement fatigue, and fearful thoughts. See, I've always been a woman of faith, but I didn't always prioritize my mental health. Going to therapy was one of the best decisions I made for myself. It taught me how to live life with intentions based on my core values. It taught me how to cultivate my self-worth and confidence and not to be dependent on outcomes. Challenging my limiting beliefs, developing a wellness squad, and a recovery plan of love was the radical transformation that I needed. I started to redefine success and really empower others to do the same. Right before the global lockdown, I started sharing my story, and so many high achievers said, "Me too. I've had a mental breakdown, but I never got help." They had so much shame lingering and questioning, what would people think? Would they look at me as being unstable? Would I lose all of my success? The same questions that they grappled with, I had been there too. But they also desired a radical transformation. I simply reminded them, you can't heal what you don't reveal. And there is power in vulnerability. High achievers are known for suppressing their feelings and hiding behind their success. It's not until you become honest with yourself that the healing transformation can begin. I became a psychotherapist to reduce the stigma of mental health in high-performing spaces, and to help individuals to cultivate their self-esteem and confidence rooted in their personal values. We can redefine success by collaborating with mental health professionals and cultivating shared practices of affirmation, rest, and value-based living. We can co-create spaces such as schools, workplaces, and communities where mental health is protected and self-worth isn't outsourced to outcomes. To all of my high achievers, ambitious leaders, I see you and I hear you. If you are struggling in silence and trapped by fear, it's time for a radical transformation. It's time for you to reclaim your life and stop hiding behind success. Remember, greatness isn't a race, it's a rhythm. One that you get to define. You can be deeply driven and deeply in tune with yourself. You can set healthy boundaries, move with intentions, and still pursue big dreams. See, being a high achiever doesn't mean ignoring your mental health. But what it does mean is honoring your needs so that you can sustain your momentum. Slow down when you need to. Check in with yourself often. See, high achievers, we're no longer placing ourselves last for the sake of making it to the finish line. We are disconnecting from achievement fatigue and finally placing ourselves first. We're no longer held hostage by fear, but we're driven by faith to pursue life with a greater purpose and passion. We're redefining success and empowering others to remove the mask and to finally live in freedom. Freedom to pause, freedom to reflect, and freedom without the fear of failure. Thank you.